Yeah, it's Monday, December 1st. Did the Arizona Wildcats win another game today?
Welcome on into the AZ Wildcats podcast live from Studio K, presented by our friends over at Circle K. I am Damon Fairall. He is one Kevin Thomas, and we are the AZ Wildcats podcast, coming to you live on a Monday from PHNX HQ3 here on a beautiful December afternoon, I guess, here, Kevin. And I do, in fact, say December with a little bit of maybe sadness in my heart, because what a month November was, a November to remember, as you made on our great thumbnail today, Kevin. Really just a spectacular month to be an Arizona Wildcat, capped off by a Territorial Cup win, capped off by men's and women's basketball winning on the weekend. And we couldn't be more thrilled to be talking with you guys on a Monday about the #1 athletic department in the land.
It kind of feels that way, right, Damon? Like, it really, I said it jokingly almost in my tweet the other day of like, is Arizona the best athletic department in the Big 12? And obviously the Arizona Wildcats athletic department is in that conversation, I think, for best athletic department in the Big 12. But in November, it was undeniable that they had the best month, not only in the Big 12, but like in the country. I think they were the only D1 team to go undefeated in men's basketball, women's basketball, and football for the month of November. And I also will add parenthetically that of the 3 unbeaten teams in the month of November in Big 12 football, Arizona had the most wins. And of those teams, obviously none of them went undefeated in men's basketball or women's basketball because they're the only team to do that. And I think, I said it on a postgame recently as well, but like months like this, like times like this, you got to relish it, because this stuff does not happen very often, if not ever. And I feel like, yeah, how lucky we were to witness that month that we just had. And not only was it undefeated, not only was it like a flawless month in terms of did you play, did you win, it was incredible from a stakes perspective too. This wasn't like, oh, Arizona football has been eliminated from all these different things and now they're just kind of cleaning up the record at the end. No. You beat ASU, who was ranked, you clinched a bowl game, and you have a chance to have a double-digit win season for just the 5th time in program history. Men's basketball, you defeat the defending national champs, 3 top 15 teams, a couple top 3 teams. Women's basketball, after the exhibition games that they played, you're probably thinking there's no way that they go a 7 or 6-0, whatever they are, in the non-conference to start. Yeah. They're definitely going to have some bumps. And then Becky Burke, and in company with the roster that she's put together, they flip the script and say, no, I think we're actually going to go undefeated for the first 6 games and make some adjustments. And there are going to be some sweaty moments in there, but we're going to get the job done. So yeah, very, as Roberto the coffee guy says in the chat with his Americanos on deck, we are very blessed to be watching this athletic department. And it does feel like, in terms of overall success, I think right now it feels very sustainable. I think, we hear a lot with the Suns podcast, and it's kind of become like a inside joke of sorts, but Arizona is aligned. Yeah. From DRF all the way down. I guess you can even go from the president all the way down, from DRF to Brent Brennan to
this podcast, to the president quote tweeted this weekend.
Yes.
No big deal.
I mean, he knows. Fan of the show, fan of the program. But yeah, I feel incredibly lucky, and I think it is about time you had that conversation of, did Arizona kind of come into the Big 12? And yeah, they had a bad year in football last year, but had they really come in and kind of shaken things up in a lot of ways, right? Basketball has been a different mix since these new teams came into the Big 12. Football has been a murderer's row. And in terms of that, I mean, like self-cannibalization. It's been a very entertaining first year and 3/4 here in the Big 12. And I cannot wait to continue to see how Arizona grows into this conference. Because we talked about the level of success that Arizona was able to achieve, mostly in like basketball and baseball and, softball and things like that in the Pac-12. However, In the Big 12, I think you can still experience that same level of success, but the rewards feel a lot more plentiful. They feel a lot more real, and it feels like the rewards from the Big 12 can really help you sustain high levels of success going forward, right?
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you. I think the Big 12 is such a good fit for Arizona from so many perspectives, and the main two being in the two biggest sports that are on campus. It allows for Arizona to be competitive in football and actually have a pathway to the college football playoff. I know it didn't happen this year, but if Arizona holds on versus BYU, that's the difference between being in the championship game next week. Man. Seriously.
Could you imagine the month we could have had?
Yeah, and it would have been insane. But that being said, like, it didn't happen, but the path is there in front of you. And from basketball standpoint, it will prepare Arizona to do what they haven't done in such a long time, and that's have tangible success in March Madness when it comes to the NCAA tournament, because we've seen so many regular season championships, preseason like feast week tournament championships from Arizona, conference championships once we go to Vegas and dominate year after year. But we haven't seen that happen in the tournament because we haven't been prepared for the tournament. And now the Big 12 will do just that for Arizona as well. It might take a step back in terms of conference championships because we're in the super conference in basketball now, and that's going to be hard to keep up with and win every single year. But I think that this move to the Big 12 has just been so bountiful for Arizona, truly. And not to say that I think the Pac-12, if Arizona stayed, it would have worked out as well. But if we had to make the change, this was the best change possible. There's a regional aspect to the Big 12 that a lot of conferences don't have at this moment in time. Like most Big 12 teams are in the greater Southwest kind of area of the United States, right?
Yeah.
You have the West Virginias, you have the Cincinnatis, you have the UCFs of the world, but for the most part, it's Texas teams, it's Oklahoma State, it's Arizona schools, it's Utah, Colorado, BYU. This is just been such a good fit, and what a month to cap it all off in this month of November here. Women's basketball now plays Southern on Wednesday, Kevin, at 6 p.m. They got New Mexico on Sunday at 2 p.m. Should be 2 more W's, you would think, hypothetically.
Yeah.
It feels like Arizona, looking at these non-con games, feels like the Cats should get out of non-conference unscathed. And then we will truly see what the real test of this team looks like in conference play. But it's also year one of Becky Burke. No one expects this team to be in their true final form in year one. We will see an uptick, I believe, in the Becky Burke tenure, especially with how she's been recruiting in her early parts here at Arizona. But we got to also talk a little bit of other recruiting, Kevin.
Real quick. Yeah. That was a professional level segue, and I don't mean to step on it.
That's what Kevin likes to do. Whenever I have a perfect transition, Kevin likes to just kill it, just dead, just strangle the life out of it.
Greasy fingerprints all over the glass. But which undefeated run in November surprised you the most? I feel like it's coming down to football or women's basketball, but you say football. Why?
Football.
Why is that?
I think in women, shout out women's basketball. I don't want to downplay their accomplishment that they've had, but they beat UC Riverside by 3, UC Irvine, Grambling State, NAU, Northern Colorado, Cal State Bakersfield. Good teams. I mean, better than what you'd expect, the exhibition game to have been, right? Like that was a Division II team. So it's improvement, but Arizona football went and played a bunch of one-score spread games, won all of them, lots of times in dominating fashion when it comes to the second half in particular. That's the thing about the football run that has been so crazy to me is, let's throw the Colorado game aside. Arizona and Colorado are different caliber of football teams. Now, Kansas was winning against Arizona going into the fourth quarter, and Arizona found a way to win that game. And this run probably doesn't happen if that game-winning drive that Seth Doege called doesn't happen, because I think actually out of all the games, that was the team that might have outplayed Arizona. Legitimately, out of all 5 of these games, it might have been Kansas that outplayed Arizona, and we see it again with Kansas against Utah. They just find ways to lose every single football game all year long. They were in almost every football game too. But then you look at Cincinnati, the domination that happened in that second half, especially in the fourth quarter. Baylor, same thing in that fourth quarter, just pure domination. ASU, we dominated them all game, but it didn't show up on the scoreboard in the first half. You needed that second half to really put things away. The second half dominance Arizona's displayed has been remarkable to me. And that's coaching a lot of the time, is it not? You're making adjustments from what you're seeing in the first half, and you're going out there and you're out coaching your competition in the second half. I think that's got to be the most impressive.
And I also think we have two very impressive things to talk about here on today's podcast, and that is the fact that we are presented by not only branded bills, but we are also presented by Captain Morgan. And if you're unfamiliar with either of these two brands, first of all, how is that possible? Second of all, branded bills, I want to give a special shout out to them. This episode of the AZ Wildcats podcast is proudly presented by Branded Bills. Head to brandedbills.com and use code BBPHNX for 15% off your first order. And I know that Captain Morgan ship just left the dock, so to speak, but make sure to sip on some Captain Morgan responsibly if that's what you're getting down with these days.
Absolutely.
Because Captain Morgan is always delicious, delicious alcohol.
Well, and you know that Branded Bills, I'm always rocking Branded Bills on this podcast, Kevin, every
always.
single damn day.
Yes,
so
every single day. Every single day. But yeah, Damon, you mentioned football as being the biggest shocker. Honestly, there are some aspects to each run, women's basketball, men's basketball, football, that are equally kind of shocking, right? Because I think if you had told me that Arizona, and I guess they're not fully through that non-con stretch of, you also have Auburn and Alabama remaining on that schedule, and Alabama really could be the one that catches you up. Auburn could be too, right? But more likely that it's Alabama. I'm still surprised that Arizona men's basketball, as much as I love this roster and as talented I think it is, I'm kind of surprised they made it out of, the gauntlet of Florida, UCLA, UConn.
Same.
Undefeated.
Yeah.
Unscathed. Even in that UConn game, I know you didn't get like a full strength UConn, and maybe that result changes if you do get a full strength UConn.
Yeah.
But you didn't, and you won. And I think for that reason, Arizona men's basketball deserves a shout in this conversation. But ultimately, we did know how talented that roster is, and we did think that they had a chance to do this kind of damage in the non-conference. So I'll probably put that third. And then I think I'm honestly going to put women's basketball number 2, even though I think it's a really close race between which one was more surprising, especially when you add in the exhibition games that women's basketball played. And I mean this with no disrespect to the current roster of players, because they're trying to fit, they're trying to showcase their own talent, they're trying to learn a new system for the most part. But it did not look good. It really did not look good. It looked like it was going to be a situation where they're going to try harder than most teams, but be outskilled by a lot of teams and lose a lot of games. And credit to Becky Burke, credit to her staff, credit to that roster, because they said, these are exhibition games, and it's our first time playing together. We're going to learn from it. We're going to adjust, like you said, which ultimately comes down to coaching, and we're going to go 6-0 in the non-conference. And I think they do deserve to get commended for that. That is a huge surprise. I think it's a good, benevolent surprise, but it's a surprise nonetheless. But I think you're right. I think football is by far the most shocking undefeated run in November, because if you had told me that Becky Burke went undefeated in the non-conference 3 months ago, I would have said, first-year coach, that magic, I guess it just happened. Whatever. Future man, you're telling me this? I believe you. I hear it. I see the vision. If you had told me that Arizona football went undefeated in November, I would have been shocked. I would have been floored. And that's not because I didn't think that this team was good, right? You and I talked all season about, even in the low moments with Arizona football this year, what was I saying? The schedule is favorable. You can win a lot of these games down the stretch if you execute, if you commit to capitalizing on mistakes from your opponent down the stretch. And even with all that belief I had, I still would have been shocked that Brent Brennan and his squad went 5-0 in November with a win on the road against number 20 ASU. That is incredible.
Win on the road against number 25 Cincinnati as well.
1,000%. Multiple ranked road wins for Brent Brennan in the month of November. I would not have predicted that. And I think it's part of the reason you see such a crazy ovation for Brent Brennan when he goes to the men's basketball game, because everyone's looking at him like, first of all, we're sorry. Yeah. Bear down! Bear down, baby! Let's go! I mean, honestly, usually we're kind of making fun of him for being a little cornball, but that was I tweeted it. It fired me up, unironically.
The thing is he is corny, but he's also like, that's our, like, when you're winning games,
it's our cornball.
100%. And like, I understand that, like, that's it's easy to say and it's flaky in a way, but like, that energy people don't want that energy when you're losing and losing in an embarrassing fashion. But when you're winning, we're all about it, man. You know what I mean? So shout out Brent Brennan. I think, no one deserves the love more than him, especially after all the hate that he received last season. But yeah, shout out to our guy Saul Bookman as well. ALLCITY Saul, just because you guys do great work and because I dropped the ball Saturday, $4.99. No worries, Saul. We're ready to have you on this podcast whenever you want to be on this podcast. That's the deal me and Kevin have in place with you, my man. But
Saul knows he is just one text message away from getting access to being on the pod.
Saul will be at the next game here on a Saturday, Auburn versus Arizona at McHale. So as Max says here, he's our cornball. Kevin, I was typing that as you said it. Great minds think alike. 100%. He's our cornball. I want to say that Real Pigeon also put up here in the chat. And this is how I'll do my professional transition, Kevin. One thing that impressed him with Brennan over the offseason is even with the disaster last season, how he recruited and how he worked the portal. Now, I wish I actually put this on a graphic because it was kind of circulating on Twitter over the weekend, Kevin, and it was about the most starts that were added, I believe, in the college football sphere, from a transfer portal standpoint. Over this offseason. And I believe number 1 was Oregon, who's 11-1. Number 2 is Indiana, who's 12-0. And number 3 is Arizona, who just went 9-3. And now that doesn't necessarily mean all are created equal, right? Like Arizona brought in a lot of FCS transfers. I doubt Oregon was doing the same thing, but it goes to show how important experience is. A lot of these players, like if you go look at this roster right now, and I know this is jumping the skis a little bit, but a lot of these players are seniors. We have a lot of upperclassmen on this roster. Even guys like Genesis Smith, you got to assume that it's peace out time, right? Like there's a reason that this win probably in the Territorial Cup meant so much to him because this was the last game he was going to play. He's going to be like a second round pick come April, right? So you're losing a lot of talent, especially with those DBs. You got to replace a lot of talent, but now Arizona can tangibly prove to recruits, Kevin, you want to come play here because we can win with you. This coaching staff can win with you. We proved it with a lot of FCS transfers this year. A lot of dudes that were from lower level schools that were not necessarily like the Power 5 transfers. Now you can go out and you can market to those guys as well and even try to bring in a higher caliber of recruit and still bring in that tangible experience. And credit to this coaching staff, what they did this season, because I don't think a lot of people, like, even though I think that the people that are more locked in, me, you, people of this chat who watch the show every day, like we saw that the recruiting was taking an uptick and that they were actually doing a pretty good job bringing in guys, but it also wasn't necessarily the flashiest names. I think this offseason, they have an opportunity to get pretty flashy here, Kevin. And that started this weekend, even in the high school ranks.
Remember last year when we were talking about, or maybe not last year, but going into Brennan's first season, right? We talked about how do you not get a guy like Nick Nash to come pair with T-Mac, right? Coming into that year. How do you not have a second receiver coming in to help aid your number 1, top 5, or top 10, whatever, NFL draft pick in Tedero McMillan? This year, some of the names that are starting to get thrown out of players that could be within the, I'll just say, like, affordable bag of Arizona recruiting transfer players, they're a lot more impressive than the class that you were looking at this past year. And I've said this to you. I've said it to multiple people, like off air and things like that, about how, I don't want to look ahead. I don't want to look past this season because I'm enjoying this season. I'm enjoying this ride with this team and this staff. However,
and we ain't done yet.
Yes,
we want 10.
Yes, 9 ain't enough for me. I want to win 10. Damn it. But I've been telling people this whole time that, like, what I'm really looking forward to now that Brent Brennan has stacked some wins and he can kind of have a resume is him having leverage when he recruits.
Yeah.
That offseason cycle when he came in, he did not have zero leverage. He had negative leverage.
Yeah.
In the sense that he's coming in and self-admittedly has to kiss guys' asses.
Because people have one foot out the door already. A lot of them.
Yes. And so he has less than zero leverage in that situation. Guys like Tacario Davis, they have all the leverage in that situation. Hey, new coach, do you want to win? Do you want me, like, talented corner on your roster? What are you going to do for me? Right? And I think now, after, coming into this year, Brent Brennan had a really bad result in 2024. So now he went from negative leverage. He might have leveled up a little bit. He had zero leverage, though, going into this offseason, where he had to go in, and I don't mean this, derogatorily, but it's true. He had to go into the bargain bin to get some transfer guys, some guys that were not getting looks from other Big 12 teams, or some guys that were not getting looks from other Power 5 teams. And they wanted to prove their skill set at this level, in the Big 12 level. And hey, do you want to bet on yourself? Come play with Arizona. Come experience Red Line. That's what we're pushing this year. And I'm looking forward to this upcoming offseason because it feels like now Brent Brennan actually has some form of proof of concept. And it's not just like some form, it's a really good form of a potentially 10-win season in a year where no one thought, outside of like the diest of diehard Arizona fans, that you would even get 8 wins.
Like, how do you even sell last year to?
That's what I'm saying.
To recruits. It is pretty remarkable looking back on it that I know you have playing time available and it's a Power 4 university, so you always have some leverage over the FCS recruits of the world. But you know, like a dude like Riley Wilson or Nunu Watley, like they had options elsewhere at other Power 4 universities as well. They were not just nobody FCS transfers. And to be able to get in front of guys and be like, hey, I know we went 4-8 last season, but you're about to love every second of this season. I mean, think about how we reacted about that as fans. Yeah. We were sitting there like, man, what the hell is this guy talking about exactly? We're going to love every second of it. And they were pretty much right. Like, I know that the BYU and the Houston losses were tough, but like,
you're not going to go undefeated.
They were still great games where Arizona went toe-to-toe with ranked opponents.
The only one you really hated to watch like the whole way through was the Iowa State game.
And that was a scheduled loss. Like that was a really, really like tough game to win, all things considered. Iowa State was healthy. They had played big-time games at that point in the season, whereas Arizona really didn't as much. They were 5-0. They were in a whiteout. Like Ames is an insane place to play. But now, I mean, all the other 11 games of the season, you performed well, Yeah. So, man, it's. I mean, this is going to be a completely different world for Brent Brennan, and also now you have a full season of off season of Seth Doege in place.
I think that the off season of Seth Doege, I think, is actually going to be the biggest change, so to speak, from this year to next year. And like I said earlier, I know we're getting out ahead of our skis, but you can't help but look forward to next year, even though this year is not already yet over, because of how good this year has been, right? Like Max said it in the chat, we've already flipped like 3 K-State recruits in the last 2 months. And it feels like the Trey Spivey pipeline is only growing to be more of a legacy pipeline. But yeah, I think,
and it seems like he's in on it too. We'll get into that here in a second. But
Petty King.
But yeah, it's the fact that they have this much more to sell now. And they still have a good basis for a roster. Like, I know that you're going to have to replace a lot of DBs, and that's going to be those are going to be the part that hurts the most. You got some O-linemen to replace too, but I think after last year, you have to trust this staff's evaluation of offensive linemen, no? They 1,000%. Brought in Tristan Bounds, Ty Buchanan, Kayana DeCambra, and all 3 were admirable performers on this O-line. Like, I trust them to find O-linemen that can get the job done. They have the quarterback. That's a fact. Right? We potentially the conference player of the year.
Yeah.
And then you have, Kedrick Reesino at running back still. You still have Quincy Craig, I believe, at running back. You have Gio Richardson, Trey Spivey, Chris Hunter at wide receiver, Isaiah Mizell as well, Brandon Phelps as well. Like, you have pieces on that offense, and you got to replace a lot of defenders, no doubt about it. But I trust this staff now, I think, at this point. How could you not to get that job done? We'll hit and get into what Arizona's staff was up to this weekend in terms of recruiting right after our first break here on the AZ Wildcats pod. Do leave a like, drink your water. Don't go anywhere.
You heard the man. Drink your water. And if you have been involved in a serious accident or a wrongful death situation, make sure to call the husband and wife law team at. Write this number down. I tell you every time, and I feel like you haven't done it. So make sure to write this number down. 602-783-8841. One more time. 602-783-8841 is the number of the husband and wife law team, Mark and Alexis Breyer, making Phoenix their home, as they always do. They have been here for, can I say generations? Am I allowed to say that? I mean, you when you raise 8 kids in the Valley, it feels
it might as well be like 4 generations. Yeah,
precisely. But they have been around for a long time out here in the Valley. But their focus, not only on their family, is on their law business, where the focus is always on client results and giving back to the community. And if you want to make sure that you can trust them, what are some of the promises? What are some of the guarantees that Mark and Alexis Breyer can provide you? I have some for you right here. No one can guarantee the outcome of a legal case. However, there are some promises that are made to you, and they are proud to make these promises. You can cancel your fee agreement at any time for any reason. You will receive as much in your pocket as they receive for their fee, even if you have to reduce their attorney's fee to do so. And you may also speak with one of their lawyers as often as you choose about anything you want to discuss. And we all know how valuable just having an ear can be. If you have the right trust, that they as your lawyers will tell you both the strengths and the weaknesses of your case. You don't want some lawyer just blowing smoke telling you got a really strong case and you pay all this money and you get in that courtroom and you flop. That is not what you get with the husband and wife law team. They will tell you straight up if you have a case, and they will tell you straight up if you don't. So if you've had a serious injury, call the husband and wife law team first at the number on your screen. That's 602-783-8841, or visit their website at the link in our description below.
Yeah, we love our friends over at the husband and wife law team, a staple of this community here in the Valley and in the state of Arizona. And as well, I want to talk to you guys about my friends over at Three Amigos Tequila, because win or lose, Kevin, we booze with our friends at Three Amigos Tequila. Around here, we cheer hard, we celebrate harder, but we always keep it local. Three Amigos Tequila is a staple for Arizona fans. They sustainably farm this stuff, Kevin, in Tequila, Mexico. That is an actual place. I know that for a fact because my roommate, this is a fact, my roommate last week for Thanksgiving was in Jalisco, which is where tequila resides and where real tequila gets made. Three Amigos Tequila is the real stuff. Give me a little bit of ASMR. There it is.
Didn't really do it.
Didn't really do it. You know what? Kevin doesn't have it like me, but it's all good. That's why I'm doing the Three Amigos. Does smell good. Tequila, Mexico, where they make this stuff. The only authentic tequila that you will find out there in the game. And Three Amigos Tequila is farming that agave in Jalisco, doing it themselves, bringing it up here and making it in the Valley. And then, of course, making it for all Arizona fans worldwide as well. Farm to glass tequila, and this is the season to tailgate, toast, and celebrate with the Valley's favorite tequila, Arizona's favorite tequila, Three Amigos Tequila. Go check out some for yourself today. And Three Amigos has been so generous with their product around here. Kevin and I are just loving the Three Amigos Tequila. Kevin could attest to this. I walked in the other day, just took a swig of it. Just poured some in my mouth, took a swig of it just because I wanted to. Just because I felt like it.
Yeah, bro. Because it looks so good that you almost had to.
Yeah, it was,
you know what I mean?
my mouth was watering thinking about that tequila, that Ramona's Reserve.
Yeah, I mean, clearly we're not talking out of our you-know-what here. This is a bottle of Ramona's Reserve.
That was done completely by me and Kevin.
Yeah, it was given to this show, and about 2 weeks later, they were like, oh, you need another one? Oh, okay, cool. That sounds good. Sounds great to us. So shout out to our friends over at Three Amigos Tequila.
The PHNX Sun Devils pod, they have an extra guy, and I don't even think they've gone through an entire bottle of tequila. Plus, we've used some of their tequila. Fact.
Yeah, well, never mind. But yeah, shout out to Three Amigos Tequila. Love to celebrate with our friends over at Three Amigos Tequila. Damon, let's keep talking about this Arizona Wildcats football program under head coach Brent Brennan, because I think real quick to set this up, right? I mean, I don't have to do too much here. Last year was absolutely horrendous from a result standpoint. This year, a lot better. Almost a dream scenario for Brent Brennan and company. We're talking about how that can impact recruiting, and we've touched on it a little bit, but let's just dive right into it. We have some recruiting news and notes to get to because the buck does not stop here for the Cats, and they're getting very busy early on in the cycle.
They absolutely are. Looking here at the recruiting rankings here in the Big 12, Kevin, Arizona now finds themselves up in 4th place. I know Max put in 3rd there earlier. So, Max, I'm curious as to what website, or if you're using the regular 247 sports rankings. I believe I'm on the composite. And these are the 3 teams above Arizona, Kevin. You ready for this?
Always.
Texas Tech. I don't know. Do they have money? Who knows?
A lot of it.
BYU. I don't know. Is that a team that has money? I'm not
sure. They would like you to think that they don't, but they definitely do.
And TCU, another loaded university when it comes to the NIL resources that they have. Those are are probably the top 3 NIL schools in the entire conference when it comes to what they can go about paying their players and based off the money that they have in place. And Arizona finds themselves in 4th place behind those 3 schools in the Big 12 recruiting rankings. West Virginia in 5th, Houston in 6th, ASU in 7th, PU. That stinks, Kenny Dillingham. And then, of course, Utah in 8th, Iowa State 9th, Baylor 10th. We could go so on and so forth. Houston in 6th, even though they have a 5-star, pretty interesting. But Kevin, one thing I need to talk about, Arizona lands another 4-star over the weekend in Justin Morales, offensive lineman who was a Kansas State transfer or commit, now is flipping his commitment to the Arizona Wildcats, choosing the supremacy Wildcats here in the conference. Everyone knows it. In the process, Arizona now has 6 4-star recruits in this 2026 class so far. Just a remarkable job from Brent Brennan and his staff. 6 4-star recruits, Kevin. A little fun fact, has not been done at Arizona since #the class.
The class.
And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, the class trade, I'm trademarking that, was in 2022 when Jed Fish brought in what was, I think, undeniably the best class in Arizona football history. 25th overall rank, and Arizona has had classes that have been around that high before. Getting 25th is definitely up there with one of the best of all time in this program's history, but it's not just that they got 25th when the ranking came out. It's what these guys became at the U of A. T-Mac, of course, your rightful NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. Speedy Luke, who, it didn't work out necessarily, but still played a little bit at this university. Kean Burnett, same way. Ephesians Prysock, a great starter on one of our best teams we've ever had. Kevin Green, didn't necessarily work out for him as much. Jonah Coleman, ever heard of him, Kevin? One of the best running backs in college football. Big Jonah Savanaya, second-round pick for Arizona. Noah Fafita, the greatest quarterback in the history of this football program, potentially. Then you have other guys like Isaiah Ward, who ended up at Washington, Takario Davis, who ended up at Washington, Tyler Powell, who's still on the team and could be pretty good, Russell Davis, who went to Washington, Jacob Manu, who went to Washington, Wendell Moy, who went to Tennessee, but a lot of really good football players that helped this team win football games. And you had Chris Hunter at the bottom of it with a 0-star ranking. I mean, Jed Fish was hitting on every single cylinder this entire 2022 recruiting class, and Arizona has just matched that recruiting class with this recruiting class in terms of 4-star prospects brought in. And then they also have the ability to bring in some transfers as well. Jacob Cowing was a part of that recruiting class as a transfer. So maybe they have a little bit more work cut out for them to get to that true 25th spot, because I believe they're like 31st right now in the composite ranking. But man, was that a special class from the Arizona Wildcats. And it looks like Brent Brennan, in just 1 year of disaster, has found a way to get to the Jed Fish level of recruiting already, and I could not possibly have seen this coming.
Honestly, neither could I. But I will say this: you ever seen Like Mike? I think that was the name of the movie, right? Where the kid, Lil Bow Wow, he gets the shoes and he turns into
of course,
a great basketball player.
Mm-hmm.
We thought Jed Fish
he gets
had
Mike's
it.
shoes.
Yes,
specifically.
True, because he wants to become like who? Like Mike. But Jed Fish, we thought he was really in his recruiting bag at Arizona, right? And I'm just here to half-heartedly say maybe it was the shoes. Maybe he had feet on land in Tucson and he got that little magic rub going on, and he went up to Seattle with it, and it was not working the same, because the best players he got up there were the best players he got when he had the shoes on in Tucson.
Are you saying why not Arizona right now? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, I am. I'm saying I think Tucson has the special magic, and I think people are starting to realize that, okay, ASU tried to activate the Valley, but no one actually wants to live in Tempe if they have the choice to do it. So if I'm going to move to the state of Arizona to play football, the only place to do it is in Tucson. And yeah, you had last year with Brent Brennan, but were people really supposed to be, as players, like in on a first-year head coach that's coming from a San Jose State? But now we're going to see what Brent Brennan does when he has those Like Mike shoes on and he's recruiting for the University of Arizona.
Yeah. I will say Washington has a really good recruiting class right now, but as we know, Washington is Fortune 500 U. I mean, it would be impossibly hard not to have that high of a recruiting class with REI, Costco, Boeing, Xbox, and every single Microsoft just putting money in your pocket constantly,
you say
right?
Starbucks?
I mean, that's what I've been told. That's what I've been told, is that those companies are paying the players directly. They're direct depositing it into Jonah Coleman's bank account. Bill Gates. Bill Gates sends a Venmo transfer to Jonah Coleman every week.
Hey, I'll say one thing. and if I was a football player, I probably would never leave Arizona. But I will say, if you can give me a direct line to Bill Gates for weekly Venmo payments,
that's what Jed Fish will have you believe is happening at Washington.
That's quite the NIL benefit, and I'll say that much. But Damon, yes,
Roberto, the coffee guy, we brought up Starbucks, and he's sick.
Hey man, they burn the hell out of their beans. I'm not saying that it's good coffee, but it is wealthy coffee, and that is a fact. Damon, let's talk more about these recruits that Arizona is getting in here. We talked about 4-star offensive lineman Justin Morales, whose nickname I believe is Slayer.
Yeah, that's what he has on his Twitter.
Ooh,
Slayer Morales.
Ooh. Oh my God,
that sounds like a first-round pick if I've ever heard one in my entire life.
To be honest, it does not sound like an offensive lineman though. I think that's my main problem.
I believe that's 2 commits here for Josh Oglesby that are 4-star offensive linemen joining Malachi Joyner of Williams Field here in Gilbert, Arizona. But 2 offensive linemen 4 stars for Josh Oglesby, who I think that, we have to give some credit where credit's due. Kevin and I were doing this show about a year ago today being like, man, how could you bring back Josh Oglesby? What? How could you?
No,
the
literally.
O-line had NFL players on it. Players.
Yeah, plural.
And they were getting dominated week in and week out. It looked like you couldn't win with this offensive line coach. The main difference was Brennan Carroll to Josh Oglesby. And in this year, I think that Josh Oglesby has elevated this offensive line, and now he's brought in 2 big-time offensive line recruits, and that doesn't even go to mention the other O-linemen that are committed to this university right now, of which there are 3 of them, 3 interior guys as well. So I think great job by Josh Oglesby here. And then I think just in general, you steal another Kansas State recruit. You did it with Trey Spivey. You said it was the 3rd one, right? There was another one, isn't there?
Someone in the chats, Max said it was 3, I think, in 2 months or something like that.
Max, who are we forgetting here? I think you're right. There was another guy that I'm missing. But Kevin, it does feel like maybe this is stemming from somewhere.
It feels like maybe K-State isn't the best program to be at right now.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying that like how are all these guys? How did this pipeline start? It starts with one Trey Spivey, who goes to Kansas State out of Hamilton High School, decides, man, that wasn't for me. I got to come back home to where I really belong, representing my state at the University of Arizona. And in the process, it feels like maybe he has every Kansas State recruit on speed dial right now being like, yo, you know what's real crazy? Going to Tucson instead of Manhattan. Our guy Trey Spivey responded to the flipped commitment here from Justin Morales. And you can see I liked the comment from our PHNX Wildcats account. Trey Spivey just with the Mr. Burns good. just an evil, conniving good.
I mean, I love it. I said this to you pre-show. I love when athletes are petty, and I love when they do that type of activity on social media, because nothing was malicious about that.
No.
Nothing malicious at all. He's just happy that one guy from a school that he once associated with is now at the school that he currently associates with, and it's going to help the current school that he's at. Kansas
State fans, when I posted that kind of viral clip of Trey Spivey a few months back when we played Kansas State, where Trey Spivey said, when things don't go right on offense, heads are hanging, vibes are bad, sideline is down, people aren't jumping. And the Kansas State fans were, for the most part, most of them in I think in typical fashion, you would expect a lot of man, F this dude. Mm-hmm. We hate this guy. What a loser. The
Jaden Daniels video.
But instead, it was he's right. yeah, he knows he's probably right. This team does sulk and we do suck. It feels like Trey Spivey actually hit the nail on the head when it comes to what's going on at Kansas State. But now he's just trying to get the recruiting process flowing.
If there is a guy that would be in tune to locker room dynamics and locker room chemistry, it would be the son of a MLB World Series champion.
Yeah.
A guy who has been around genuinely the highest level of locker room that you can be around in the respective sport, right? Trey Spivey knows what a good locker room feels like, and he knows what a toxic locker room feels like. Or maybe not even toxic. That might be too strong of a word. But just a not very confident locker room, right? Mm-hmm. A locker room that is prone to capitulating, as you say. right? He would know what that looks like. And I think coming over to Arizona, Kobe in the chat says it feels like he is all in and he's pumped for Trey Spivey in season 2.
I can't
Arizona.
wait, man. It feels like if things break right for Trey Spivey next year with Noah Fafita being potentially the main target for this team, it feels like he could be an NFL player next season, right? Like after the season in 2026, I really do think that there's potential there for. I mean, he has the size and athleticism for it. I think it's just going to be about the opportunity, and what better opportunity do you have than when Noah Fafita is a senior in his final season at Arizona, and he's just breaking records left and right, winning games hopefully left and right. I think that has an opportunity to be a real kind of, rise year for Trey Spivey next year in particular. So I'm excited about the passing game next year. And you're right. It does seem like Trey Spivey is all the way in, Kobe. So
have you seen his
much
TikToks?
to be excited about. No, I haven't.
This guy's dancing with every teammate that he could find on his TikTok. It's awesome.
He owns the state.
Like, the vibes are so good.
You know what it seems like to me, Kevin, and you might disagree with this, but it feels like the guys, Traden Stukes, Trey Spivey, the Genesis Smiths of the world, the
Dalton Johnson,
the dudes who, well, him too, but I'm saying the dudes that are from Arizona that went to U of A but didn't wind up at ASU. It feels like this Territorial Cup just meant a little bit more to them. Like Trey Spivey's going nuts, as you said. Genesis Smith's throwing up forks down on right after the game, walking up to cameras like this. And Kevin, I said this to you off air. His first call when he entered the portal was, bring, bring. Hello? Hey, it's Kenny Dillingham.
Hey, what's up, man? It's Kenny Dillingham. How are we doing? Let's activate the Valley. You went to Hamilton High School. Let's get you Arizona State. Oh, let's do it.
That was his first call. Just Kenny just going nuts on the phone, being like, all right, dude, take a breath. But he stayed true. Traden Stukes did the same thing. And, now we reap the rewards of it, winning that Territorial Cup. But let's stick on the little Kansas run we have here, Kevin, because we did bring in another recruit as well, and that's a JUCO prospect by the name of Kevin Moorer. And I was trying to figure out a way that I could make a joke. You're Kevin Lesser and he's Kevin Moorer or something like that.
I mean, I think you found it.
But
you found the one.
He's a number 68 JUCO prospect, a number 11 D-line prospect. And he plays for Hutchinson Community College, Kevin, which is in the state of Kansas. So going back to the well of Kansas, even though Justin Morales is from El Paso, but going back to the well of Kansas, Hutchinson Community College, I looked it up. Because I'm familiar with the university. I was like, I wonder how good they are this year. Number 1.
Yep.
This is the number 1 junior college ranking in the country as currently constituted, 10-0. And Kevin Moorer is from Mobile, Alabama. He's the 5th defensive line recruit for Big Joe. He's got 2 edge rushers now, 3 interior defensive linemen, including Keatron Harris, who's one of the better recruits in this class, and including Prince Williams from Bishop Gorman, who's a 6'3", 255-pound edge rushing recruit. Manoa Fa'apusa, who is just maybe the biggest human being that has ever lived. Kevin, he's 6'2", 360 pounds, and I think that might be a little bit light for what he's actually sitting these days. So seems like we got some decent D-line recruits, some decent size coming in next year for Big Joe as well, and another recruit here for the Cats on a big-time holiday weekend.
The main reason I know Hutchinson Community College is because of Last Chance U, because they were an opponent on that
They're
initial
Independence's main rival, right?
Yeah, and then after, I think a year and a half after that I was talking to Noah about, me and Noah were talking about our current, but the high schools we went to.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about where their sports are right now. We were looking at their football rosters, their basketball rosters, stuff like that. My high school's Twitter page for the basketball team has not changed its header since I was a junior in high school. And I think it's because Art Green is in that header. They have a 5 picture. He was a player on that team. He went to Hutchinson Community College. He now plays for the New York Giants. So Hutchinson Community College has a St. Louis tie. And yes, I just wasted 60 seconds plus of your time to tell you that. But I say all that to say
that's why he's Kevin Lesser.
I was going to say Hutchinson Community College, I think, has been known recently for really putting out some good JUCO talent, whether it be transfer or straight to the league or whatnot. So yeah, that was a roundabout way of saying that this school does have a history of putting guys in the league. Yeah.
It's in terms of JUCO football right now. Kansas JUCO football, I think, is the number 1 in the country. Arizona used to be up there, but they killed Arizona JUCO football, sadly. And Kansas is kind of taking the mantle here. You got Independence, you got Hutchinson, you got some really big time community college football programs there in that state. So Arizona, Kansas is Wildcat country. El Paso's Wildcat country, and soon to be San Diego's going to be Wildcat country when the Wildcats seemingly are going to be in the Holiday Bowl. And I believe Jason Shear said that SMU is the likely opponent. So if that seems like that's going to be the case here, Kevin and I will be out there. We hope to see everybody else out there as well. We can get maybe something a little bit more concrete set in place to meet up with some people when we get to that moment. But can't wait to get out to San Diego, the greatest city in the world. Tied with Tucson, but it's 1-2 right there at the top. 2 border towns, Kevin. Ooh, scary. Mexico. But of course, we're gonna enjoy our time anyways, despite San Diego being so damn close to Mexico, because we know that can scare some folks potentially. But yeah, appreciate everybody for watching this show. We're gonna hit our last ad break here on the AZ Wildcats pod, and we'll be back, and we're gonna talk about the changes in this defense and offense under these new coordinators from 2025 or from 2024 to 2025. We'll do all that and more right after the break here on the AZ Wildcats pod.
Do you want to celebrate the Arizona Wildcats football season in any way you want?
I do.
Gila River Resort and Casinos is your go-to spot for that, because you do you when you're on Gila River land. And that is whether it's Wild Horse Pass, Lone Butte, Beat Kiva, or Santan Mountain. You can experience all that the Valley has to offer. And I'm talking 4,500 live slots and live table games. I'm talking comedy shows. I'm talking live podcast tapings with your favorite podcasters like Mike Bibby and the Straight Game Pod with Shaquille O'Neal. They did a live show there. I was there. Eric Ruby was there.
That was sick.
Our significant others were there. It was a really good time. Oh, Dalen Terry was there as well. So if you want to bump shoulders with maybe a Arizona Wildcat legend or two,
you saw Noah Fafita and T-Mac there over the offseason.
And Kean Burnett and the whole squad.
Tyler Powell,
the whole thing. So if you want to potentially see some stars of the Valley rub shoulders with the legends, you can do that at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You can also, eat fancy. You can eat a little more affordable at Gila River. You can have some fancy drinks. You can have some, just sitting at the bar watching the game with the boys kind of a vibe. You can also go to the sports book and get your gamble on up there at the BetMGM Sportsbook. So you do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for more details.
No better place to go hang out than Gila River Resorts and Casinos. And no better place to get your custom apparel for your business, Kevin, than our friends over at Branded Bills. If you're looking for something to make your brand stand apart from the crowd, Branded Bills is your only option, right? Whether it's a trucker, a fitted, a snapback, a beanie. I'm getting emotional over here talking about my friends at Branded Bills. You are covered with performance and style. Of course, I have this great PHNX Phoenix hat, which is, I believe if you go check out our Cyber Monday sale right now, you could get a discounted price on this hat in particular, as well as some of our other favorites over here at PHNX Sports. I don't know if we have any that are sitting here.
Grab that Branded Bills.
A lot of Scum Devil hats.
That gray one on the left. Yeah.
This one, you want to see the canvas hat? This is the brand new canvas hat Branded Bills is debuting. You can get your custom apparel on this canvas hat. It's a nice solid hat. You can hear me. I mean, that's a nice, that is a thick hat right there. You know what I mean? Or if your style is more this trucker or this golf style where it's a little bit more dry fit material, I got this one on right now. You got the rope hat. They have all types of options over at Branded Bills. And of course, we all know about the campus collection at this point. I go to U of A games and all I see is Branded Bills hats everywhere. They have taken over the Tucson hat scene when it comes to style, fashion, brand awareness, you name it. Check out that campus collection on their website, brandedbills.com. All the best U of A hats in the game. They have specific hats for specific teams: softball, women's basketball, baseballs, football, you name it, man. They have specific hats. It's so sick. Different color combos, even colors that U of A is not even. If you want to just match with a random fit,
camo.
Branded Bills has it. Camo as well. They just have so many damn options over there, and that's why we love our friends at Branded Bills. BBPHNX. It'll get you 15% off your first order. Use it today. BrandedBills.com.
Love our friends over at Branded Bills, and I love these coordinators that Brent Brennan has
even
brought
run
in.
into Kylan Boswell. Sam Alberts was in the chat in regards to going to Gila River Resorts and Casinos. And listen, hey, Kylan Boswell, do your thing these days, my guy. I believe you're 21 at this point.
He's got to be.
That's cool now, you know?
You do you.
Nah, he's 20.
Really?
Kylan Boswell, check that. Hold on for a little bit, then go to Gila River Resorts and Casinos because you still ain't of age, my guy.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it is.
I would have bet anything that he was exactly 21 years old.
Yeah, he's 20.
Wow. When was his birthday? Like, is it coming up? Is he almost 21, Damon?
Man, I mean, there's no better place to celebrate.
That's what I'm
right?
saying. Can we get the guy to a Gila River for his first ever gambling experience?
April 18th.
Oh, no, he's got a while to wait. He's got like 4 months to wait. 5 months, pretty much.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kylan. See you next time. But like I was saying, I love Gila River, and I love these coordinators that we have here at the University of Arizona in their football program. But before we get to that, we got to talk about this sale that we got going on, Damon. We have a Die Hard sale going on right now, and if you want to get in on this Cyber Monday Die Hard sale, you can. This is the biggest Die Hard deal we've ever offered, and it's only available for 2 days. So for the next 48 hours, 67% off your first year of Die Hard coverage. That means the entire year is at $26. Just $26. That's over $50 in saving on the regular $80 price point for the full year. If you've been watching the shows, reading any of my articles, hanging in the chats, chatting with me and Damon on Twitter, this is your moment to go all in and join the community. You get access to our Discord where me and Damon are trying to react to these games with you people live with the chat feature. You can talk to us, ask us questions. 20% off all of merch and events, the Die Hard welcome kit where you get like a sticker and a really cool little like identification card saying that I am a Die Hard. I am better than you. I know more ball than you do. So make sure to go to gophnx.com/26. That's gophnx.com and then / the numbers 26. Or just simply click the link in the description of this video. So 2 days. 67% off.
I know that it sounds like we're always doing sales, right? But this is truly the best Die Hard sale we've ever done. Typically, our Die Hard price is about $35 when we discount it, which is half off. This is $26, and you get a $35 value merchandise item in the process. So you can go check out. We got our great BTFD shirt. It's a cactus logo mock-up shirt. It says BTFD across it. It's really sweet. You could go get that as one of your first items. You could sport one of these Branded Bills PHNX hats, as we just talked about in our Branded Bills ad read, and you get it for free in addition to all the other benefits that we already talked about. So it's well worth it just for that piece of merchandise alone if you're interested in anything in the locker. As I keep saying, especially that BTFD shirt. Plus, Kevin and I are in the process of hopefully getting another shirt made for you people. We talked about it on our last show on Saturday. So if you didn't go check that one out, go to the end of that show and you can find out what that shirt might be. But Kevin and I are trying to get a shirt made. Yes. And if you become a diehard, you do not have to pick your shirt right away. You can wait for what that shirt's going to be. And I promise you people, you are going to want the shirt that we plan on making in the very near future here. So, okay, AZ Catch G, we will see what we can do for our big boys over here for the big boy gang. We will try to see if we can get an additional size here, but definitely check out that merchandise, check out that Die Hard sale. And then as you also said, Kevin, I think the best benefit is the Discord lounge. Yeah. You get to hang out, talk ball, whether it's not just Wildcats, but D-backs, Cardinals, Suns, even go in the ASU chat and troll those losers. It's so much fun. You have access to all of it, and you just get to talk ball with all your friends, right? So Kevin and I are in there. I'm upticking the amount of time that I'm going to be in there. That's one of the things that I'm going to be working on to be better at in 2026. Kevin is already in there. He does a great job.
Working on
Saul is very much involved as well. Erica. So if you guys want to talk ball with us, that is the best place to do so. For access for an entire year, 12 months, you can get access to our Discord, which is just a great place to hang out and talk Arizona Wildcats athletics with everybody. $26, plus you get that free piece of merchandise. I think this is well worth it. If you've ever been on the fence, this is the time now to do it. So shout out everybody. Appreciate everybody here in the chat. And Kevin, why don't we round this show out by just teaching the people about the good news of Danny Gonzales and Seth Doege.
Have you heard the good word of Doege and Gonzales, or Doege and Danny doing the thing? Danny and Doege, I don't know. That's a good buddy cop movie, though. Danny and Doege.
Absolutely.
They solve some crime or stop some crazy plot. I would watch the hell out of that.
They have great chemistry too together.
Exactly.
Watching them like talk crap to each other, and like I can't even imagine being at those practices how competitive those two dudes are getting. Probably screaming in each other's faces, Kevin. Yeah, you like that? Getting dominated.
You can't
one day.
stop us.
Yeah.
You like that Trace 5e touchdown in the end zone? You can't stop him.
I can't even imagine. I'm sure it's fantastic.
Yeah, and I don't have to really, like I said earlier, there's not much setup that needs to be done in terms of setting up what was 2024's performance on either side of the ball, right? But I've went ahead and done just that. This is the Gonzales Magic, Arizona's defensive Big 12 rankings in 2024 versus 2025. And my word.
Yikes.
He's done miracles on me.
He's done miracles on me.
Danny Gonzales. I mean, look at I don't really even got to go over it. This is unbelievable. But for our audio-only listeners, I will do just that. Here we have 5 statistical categories with the corresponding rankings in the Big 12 Conference. In 2024, in interceptions totaled up, Arizona was 14th out of 16. In average passing yards allowed in 2024, they were 12th out of 16. Average rush yards allowed, 14th. Average points allowed, 13th. Overall efficiency, dead last in the Big 12 Conference at 16. This year, Danny Gonzales comes in and says, we're going at that ball with bad humor. That's what we're doing. We're having ice cream Fridays. We're talking about wildlife in the back, the outback of Tucson, and we're getting stuff done. First in interceptions in the Big 12.
Yep.
First in average passing yards allowed in the Big 12. And I also add, I don't know how to really put this on a graphic, but they are definitely the best second half defense in the conference. 8th average rush yards allowed, 4th in average points allowed, and 4th in overall efficiency. He's done miracles on us, truly. Like what Danny Gonzales has been able to do with this defensive unit. I mean, I call a spade a spade. It's not like outside of the secondary, he has, world beaters on this team. Mm-hmm. This is great coaching. That's what this is, right?
Yeah.
Credit to Max Harris. Credit to all these guys, Deshaun McKnight, Riley Wilson, Tay Brown, all these dudes not in the secondary that still make impact. Credit to them. But calling a spade, Arizona's defensive success this season rests on 2 pairs of shoulders. Well, I guess multiple pairs, but you get what I'm saying. 2 groups here. The secondary and Coach Danny Gonzales.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where you guys give a shout out to the position coaches like Joe Salavea as
Absolutely.
well.
Huge addition.
Exactly. But the head of that snake is Danny Gonzales. So he deserves all the plaudits.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt about it. Joe Salavea is the best D-line coach this program has ever had. I don't think that's an exaggeration. He's now been a part of this program multiple times, and I think he's proven that in both stops that, he can elevate players as well. And not to demean any players, because I also want to give credit to the Deshaun McKnights of the world, the Riley Wilsons, the dudes who came from smaller schools who have not taken a step back in production. I mean, if you look at their stats, maybe it looks less, but from our standpoint, at least, it feels like they did their job and then some this season. The main difference between last season and this season, everybody kept talking about it, Kevin, was how passive Dwayne Aquino was calling this defense. Danny Gonzales gets the reins, and it's the absolute opposite of that. It becomes maybe the single most aggressive defense in the conference over the course of one season, and it's worked wonders for this team. You got to expect that there's probably going to be some people that are calling these names up, especially Danny Gonzales after the season that he just had over the offseason. I saw West Coast College Football tweet, and I don't know if this is based on any sort of other type of speculation, but he mentioned specifically that Nebraska could potentially be looking at Danny Gonzales. So we will see what that looks like. But I do think that Danny Gonzales is the type of person where being in a place where him and his family are comfortable is important to him. And we're gonna, I think that it's gonna take a lot for him to leave Tucson. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm saying that it's gonna take almost a monstrous offer here. Plus, Arizona is likely going to give him a big-time pay raise in this offseason as well. So, as Roberto says here. So, yeah, shout out Danny Gonzales. He truly has done miracles on us on this defense. Now, Kevin, let's talk about this offense a little bit, right? Because we talked about how Arizona brings in Seth Doege as its offensive coordinator. It felt like that OC search kind of took a while. You remember that when that was happening?
Yeah,
and we were bringing in offensive transfers and stuff, and we didn't even have a coordinator, and we kept being like, is everything? Like, are we going to be able to bring in the best recruits when they don't even know who's going to be their coach? And then Seth Doege gets hired. He immediately captures the hearts of Arizonans nationwide, especially mine. Seth Doege had me at hello. You listened to his first introductory press conference, and I'm like, is this guy the GOAT in the making?
Yeah.
And
people were saying he should be the head coach.
Literally immediately.
Because of the result Brennan had. They were saying, why didn't you just fire that guy and hire this guy?
And then all of a sudden, he shows up at Ryder Lyons' house a week into having the Arizona job. 5-star quarterback, Ryder Lyons from BYU. He shows up, and that's a guy that he's in the door with. I know we didn't land him, but that's a dude he's in the door with from a week in when he was Marshall's OC right before that, Kevin. It's not like he was, had some big time job. He was at Purdue before that. Then before that, he was at USC, and maybe that's when he met Ryder Lyons or his coach or whatever. But the fact that he's in the door with a 5-star QB a week in, that's got to give you a ton of confidence that this guy knows what he's doing. And as we talked about in the recruiting portion of this show, imagine him getting an entire cycle of recruiting under his wing in the transfer portal. Is that guy going to sell? Like he could sell ice to an Eskimo, Kevin.
I was about to say sand to a beach.
Yeah.
Water to the ocean.
Like this guy, I think, is going to have an absolutely monstrous cycle when it comes to bringing in offensive players, because who wouldn't want to play with Seth Doege and Noah Fafita next season?
Yeah. And I think, more on the Seth Doege transformation from last year to this year. I feel like maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people in the chat are going to correct me and say they felt differently. But my opinion coming into this year was that the offense was going to have more of a facelift than the defense. I felt like under Danny Gonzales, yes, he had proven that he can get teams to be a top 10 defense, and pretty much anywhere he went, he was doing just that. But I felt, with the departures that Arizona had, the, linebacker talent that they did or did not have, the unprovenness of some of the, is that even a word, unprovenness? The fact that some of the transfer players were unproven kind of gave me some doubt. I did not know what Danny Gonzales would be able to do with all those moving parts. I felt like Seth Doege, having a guy like Noah Fafita, having the offensive line that we ultimately saw that he had, I felt like the transformation was going to look like it did on the defensive side for the offense. But in fact, it was kind of the other way around, right? We pull up the comparisons from the Dino Babers offense to the Seth Doege offense, and really, it's improved, obviously in points per game by a lot, but some of these other categories, you improved or stayed about the same. But I think in terms of what Seth Doege really accomplished this year was adjustments and growth. Balance. And I think his ability to not only make this the 4th highest points per game offense in the Big 12 and the 4th highest pass yards per game in the Big 12 and the 3rd highest 4th down conversion rate in the Big 12. I think what's most impressive is that this is something he can build on. This is not when you succeeded with T-Mac and you're thinking after T-Mac, was it T-Mac or was it the system? Obviously, we know T-Mac's incredibly talented. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is how much of that success from a wide receiver standpoint is replicable because you had some crazy otherworldly talent, right? Like, were you able, as Seth Doege, to come in and supplant that? Because that was a big conversation point in the offseason is you don't have T-Mac. How can you supplant like that production by committee? Can you do that? And I think his ability to evolve and learn and accept criticism, I think that's one of the biggest things he's really good at is accepting criticism when it's deserved.
He says the right thing every time he steps in front of a mic. Like you have a bad game from Seth Doege, and the first thing he does is like whatever the fans are thinking about, that's also what he's been thinking about ever since he stepped off that football field, it feels like.
Yeah, and I think our quarterback, Noah Fafita, is the exact same way.
I agree.
And I think that is why that duo works so well, and it's why I'm excited to see year 2 of Seth Doege's offense. Because I think year 2 of Seth Doege's offense with Noah Fafita is going to look like what we thought maybe year 1 would look like and then some. Because I think the relationship that they've had, when I talk about the growth, Damon, the evolution, sure, he's evolving as a play caller every time he calls a game. I always say it. The only way to get better at the thing is to do the thing. And he's doing that multiple times a year. Congratulations. The most important thing, though, that he grew at is communicating with Noah Fafita. Because we knew their relationship was strong. Pardon me. We knew their relationship was strong. I know, I'm getting choked up, dude. Doege, the intensity is flowing through me. But early on in the year, there were it seemed like communication errors between Seth Doege and Noah Fafita to the point where they both acknowledged it at times, saying like, hey, I saw this, Seth saw that, or I called this and Noah ran that. And it just wasn't hitting on all cylinders at all times. Throughout all that, I'll say like lack of certainty as to whether or not that this would iron itself out by the end of the year. Noah Fafita was playing some of the best football that he's played in his entire career. That includes the Alamo Bowl season. Look at the stats that Noah Fafita has put up. Look at the performances that he has willed his team into this year on the offensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
The relationship got better week after week after week.
Yeah.
Noah Fafita became better at running what Seth Doege wanted him to run week after week after week, making the read that Seth Doege wanted him to read, week after week after week. So that's what I'm most excited for. The numbers that we put up on the screen comparing Dino Babers to Seth Doege's statistical offenses honestly did not do too much for me, right? We knew Seth Doege.
I mean, 15th to 4th is a huge jump.
And that's what I'm saying.
That's the biggest. Points per game is the most important thing as is. A lot of that, I will say, is the defense, putting them in better positions. If you look at Arizona's average starting field position, I believe it's one of the best in college football, probably because of this defense.
Yeah, and I don't mean to like poo-poo the points per game number because like you said, did you score more points than your opponent? Yes or no? That's how you win the game.
I also may add that that's with Tyler Loop versus without Tyler Loop. True. From one season to the next, and you still jumped from 15th to 4th.
It's a great point. But I think like when I say like these numbers don't really jump off the screen at me in a real way, it's because I'm kind of looking forward to next year's comparison to 2024. Because I think that is the year where you see that rush yards kind of tick up to like top 10. That's where you see that third down percent tick up into top 5. Like that is the efficiency. Like Kobe said it in the chat. I touched on it. It wasn't just Noah Fafita, but it was the whole offense getting more comfortable throughout the year.
Yeah.
They have these like incredibly explosive games every once in a while, right? But like we thought, I think in theory, like, oh, that Seth Doege offense is about to be explosive. It's gonna be balanced, but it's gonna be explosive. Honestly, and they had that mentality, but like some of the results weren't there, and I think it's just because it's year one. That's my main point. I think If I'm being completely honest, I might disagree with that a little bit. I thought that that's about what we would see from the offense, because I didn't think that this team was like insanely talented, but I expected just the coaching change to make them from horrific to average on offense. And I think what a lot of what this displays here is kind of an average offense. Not to say that it's not a good offense. I think that, it still did its job, and you look at some of those numbers are really good, but 12th in rushing yards per game is not that great. 4th in passing yards is pretty good. 7th and third down conversions not great. As Pigeon says in the chat, we got a lot to work on the red zone efficiency in particular. It feels like that was an area where Arizona was not that great in this season. I think they regressed.
Probably could have had a lot more opportunities, but probably could have, really changed the outcome of this season, even if you're capitalizing on red zone opportunities against like BYU, for example, in that first half. Where there was a lot of red zone opportunities and you settled for field goals over and over and over again. I think, I expected a improvement on this offense to a point where we would go from 4 wins to 6 wins. That's what I was expecting going into the season. Now, I thought the defense would be healthier, but I thought they'd be kind of mid. The defense went from terrible to elite, and that's why you get to 9-3. From 4-8. I think the offense made you average. The offensive improvement would have made you an average team alone. But the defensive improvement is what made you such a special team this season. And both coordinators have a huge part to play in that. Was the offense perfect? No. But it was a lot better than last year. And that's all we were begging out for. Truly. Also, you factor into that, you look at the passing yards per game on that, Kevin. It was 7th in 2025. Or 2024, and 4th in 2025. That's with throwing the football less. Go look at the numbers of attempts per game. Noah Fafita was slinging the rock last year because Arizona was down in every football game by 20 points. So he's having to. We're not even attempting to run the ball. It's part of the reason the rushing game last year was so bad. Now, you look at this team this year, Arizona's passing when they have leads and stuff because that's just good offense. That's what they're rolling with. So, I I think that you got to give a lot of credit to both guys, and retaining both of them kind of means everything this offseason.
Yeah, and I want to make sure I'm clear about my Seth Doege take. I'm not saying that I was disappointed in his first year.
No.
But his first year had such a good foundation that it just made me even more pumped for year 2 than I was about the results of year 1. Like you said, we came into this year saying if your offense can at least be decent to good,
yes,
you could truly compete in this conference.
Which is exactly what happened. The offense was decent to good, and they not only were they a decent to good team, they were a great team because their defense also made an even bigger leap, right? And so that's what we were really trying to say all offseason long is, man, y'all are when Noah Fafita gets put 11th on the Big 12 quarterback preseason rankings, it's like you guys are really underestimating what the impact of the dumpster fire that was Dino Babers had on this offense.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And also what impact that had on the defense. Because I think the defense last year, while they were super injured and while they weren't playing good football, and there were a couple of games like UCF in particular where you're just like, the hell are we even doing on defense? But in a lot of these games as well, the defense was the only ones that were keeping it even remotely close, playing with passion. Still had, Dalton Johnson and Genesis Smith out there and some good players on defense. And the offense was just putting them in such bad positions that they were eventually just capitulating and breaking. We saw ASU's defense do that in the Territorial Cup, right? They for a half, they were giving up 2 rushing yards per attempt, and then things flipped, and all of a sudden they were too tired to because they were on the field twice as much as their offense was in that game. So, man, those stats are great. It really just goes to show, how awesome Arizona, what an awesome season we had in terms of improvement to this team. And as Pigeon said, there's still stuff to work on. We got red zone offense to work on. We got rushing yards on defense to work on, especially when it comes to quarterback, dual threat quarterbacks running the football. This is not the ceiling for this team, despite the fact that it was a 9-3 season, potentially a 10-win season here.
I'm with you, and thank you to everybody in the chat.
Also, imagine special teams. Imagine if special teams was not a dumpster fire. How good could this damn team be?
Some people in the chat have been saying, and I'm turning into this guy hates Michael Salgado Medina guy, but I don't really hate him. He just isn't my favorite kicker to ever watch. But people in the chat are saying that they believe in Michael Salgado Medina to grow next year and be a better kicker. I don't disagree, but where I would maybe differ is that I don't think he necessarily has to grow into a better kicker at Arizona. I would really argue with you about the fact that there has to, and again, I don't want to really pile on this guy, but there must be a better kicker in the transfer portal this year than Michael Salgado Medina.
Absolutely.
And if there's not, we're talking about a talent like drought, the likes we maybe have never seen in the kicking realm. He's been, I said this to you off air, and I'll bring it on air. Michael Salgado Medina is a frustrating kicker to watch from a fan's perspective because you think you got him nailed down. You think he's a garbage kicker. And then he hits a massive kick in a pivotal moment, and now I don't know what to think about him anymore. Is he talented? Does he have high potential, or is he just a fly-by-night once in a while? He'll hit a big kick, and every once in a while he's mid. So I would love consistency. Even if it's consistently mid, I would love to know what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
know what I'm going to see when he goes out there.
You want to feel confident that he's going to hit 30 and 40-yard field goals, which you could not have confidence in that this season.
That's a good point, Robert.
MSM could hit 55-yard field goals too, which is nice. But I'd rather have a guy who didn't have the leg but was accurate and gave me the automatic ones. You know what I mean? And
yeah, especially with the offense you have, how aggressive Doege is proven he is capable,
and how good they were on fourth down this year.
Yeah.
Third and fourth down efficiency. I mean, listen, I think Mike Luke said this take. There's the scholarship limits in current college football are you can give 2 kickers 2 scholarships these days. I'm fine with MSM coming back and competing for his job, but I'm bringing in another kicker on a scholarship who was better than MSM was last year. And if MSN wants that spot, he's got to up his level and improve his game to win that starting job out, because he's not just getting the starting job. And I think that this is a little bit of a concern. Brent Brennan is such a loyalty guy I could definitely see him being like,
Oof.
man, that's our kicker.
I think that's where it's
our
at. Yeah.
that's our kicker. Like we believe in Michael. We think Michael is that guy. And we've seen Michael do it in practice. You could just see Brent Brennan doing this all right now. So Michael is our guy for next season, and we're going to ride with him. It's like I just need competition of a dude who was proven that he could kick field goals from those like given distances, and then I'll be fine. But it's going to be a big offseason for Craig Naivar if he survives it, because he had a bad year as a special teams coordinator, and it held this team back a little bit, frankly, from what they truly could have become. So it's gonna be fun to see who they bring in, and they have a lot of different avenues in which they can get better at this point in time.
I agree with you, and we can probably
long
wrap
snapper
up.
too, Kobe, 100%.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say.
It's not all on MSM. Those snaps were god awful, dude. The snaps were legitimately god awful, and it's such an easy job to find a competent long snapper in college football. So I apologize if our long snappers family like ever tunes into this podcast. I'm sure they're huge fans, but the snapping needs to be fixed. Like I can't even be like, you know what, MSM, you were a 5-star kicker. Like we'll have you back next season. Let's see if you improve with a little bit less nerves in your system now that you've had a year under your belt. But I can't deal with a long snapper who can't put the ball on a dime every single time that he long snaps it, because I know that there's a long snapper in the country who is begging for this job who can do that, because there's D2 long snappers who never make mistakes. Find them.
Dude, that long snapper was Max's cousin, man.
Sorry,
Chill.
Max.
Not chill.
Sorry, Max. Tell him next time. Tell him at the Christmas party that I said that he needs to be better.
Maybe spend less time at the Christmas party and more time in the front lawn doing some long snaps. But I will say this, Damon, like Kobe's, I think, point is the correct one to have, is that, yes, it's kind of like being a quarterback in a way when you're a kicker, and maybe your offensive line, for example, if you're a quarterback, kind of hangs you out to dry and you get sacked a bunch and everyone looks like, oh, he got to get rid of the ball sooner and it's all his fault and da-da-da-da-da. You kind of take the brunt for your units, like you're only as strong as your weakest link, right? And the long snapping situation, we've acknowledged at times this year that while Michael Salgado Medina has to make some of these kicks, the long snapping situation is not helping him in any way with that in terms of consistency, in terms of confidence, in terms of any of that. Like if he's going out there, he is not 100% certain beyond reasonable doubt that the snap he's going to get is going to be just like the last one.
And I've
that
heard,
I feel like has to affect your confidence as a kicker.
No, it does. So I have two friends that were both really good kickers, honestly. Like, and they both didn't kick in college, but they both could have kicked in college. Like,
do they have eligibility?
I don't believe so. But they both did try out for U of A, and Jeremy Springer didn't want him because he didn't have any spots for kickers at that moment in time. But both these dudes, I'm telling you, are like 50 and in, 90%. Like they're hitting it. And they've both told me that like when your snaps are bad and your holds are not perfect, that's what is enough to just like make you shank a kick. Like, cause you get in your own head, and the best kickers are the ones that can just be like, you know what, I'm looking at the ball and that's all that matters to me and it's going to go in. But they're like, a regular average kicker is going to be completely thrown off by a snap that gets put up here, and then he notices that while he's making his run up, and he's like, me, like I cannot believe that I have to now get this ball has to come all the way down here. It's probably going to be at a slight angle. The laces might be facing me, and I got to find a way to get this through the uprights. Like it's not an easy job, and it's a thankless job for sure. Unless you have a guy like Tyler Loop who's just unbelievable, and then everybody's like bowing down to him, singing his praises. But I think that you get more Tyler Loop love in a season after you lose Tyler Loop, because it is such a thankless job that people are like, damn it, I miss what we had with Tyler Loop. It was special. So this offseason has got to be about fixing the special teams, no doubt about it as well. I think big points of emphasis, Kevin, replacing offensive linemen, finding new DBs that are going to like pick up the slack for these studs that are going to be in the league, and improving the special teams unit. Like I think you're trying to supplement the losses of Genesis Smith, Dalton Johnson, Traden Stukes more so. Whereas like the special teams, it's like we got to get better immediately. And that's going to be the keys, I think, for this offseason for this team, because you have a good basis of skill players on offense for sure. And you have the coordinators, I think, in place. Now it's about adding the right pieces. But we got another game to discuss in the meantime before we get there. hopefully a Holiday Bowl in San Diego. And as I said, thank God we got it, because we all know how being close to Mexico scares ASU fans. So that would have been a tough scene if they had to go to San Diego and be so damn close to Mexico in one of the scariest cities in America, Kevin. Horrifying stuff, nightmare scenario. So thankfully, they're going to get the LA Bowl hosted by one Rob Gronkowski, and they're going to get to go a little bit north of the border, because we all know that being 2 hours north actually makes you better than people at the end of the day. That's what I've been taught as well. But appreciate everybody for being here. We will be meeting up, as I said, Kobe, in San Diego. Let's make that happen. That's going to be a special trip here for Arizona Wildcats fam.
With Kobe.
Absolutely.
I've texted it to Erica multiple times.
Just don't share a shot with them. Because if you buy the man a shot and say, hey, Kobe, it's me and you look at him across the bar, you go, it's me and you. He's going to go, I don't do shots. So let's do beers only.
Look, I mean, I've texted this to Erica
I
Day
love you,
many
Kobe.
times.
I'm just messing with you, my guy.
That every time I see Kobe, I'm like, God, I got to have a beer with that guy. He just seems like a guy you want to have a beer with in a lot of ways, in terms of his ball knowledge. He's a Wildcat, and he's in the Twitterverse. So that is have a beer category.
No,
right
Kobe's the man. Shout out everybody else who's in this chat. Y'all are all the man, the woman. Appreciate you guys. Shout out. Leave a like on this podcast. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And rate and review on your favorite podcasting platform. If you're an audio listener, go on YouTube, help us out, subscribe to the channel, and then set it and forget it. If you're a YouTube watcher, please do the same here on your podcasting platform of preference, because giving us that 5-star review and rating us just gives us so much help in terms of finding new people to push this show to. And it allows us to do more and more cool things. Like, if we didn't get the support that we got from you guys this football season, we would not be going to San Diego this year. That's a fact. Like,
that is correct.
It works in the exact converse,
mutualistic relationship.
100%. Like, the more love we get, the more cool things that we can do and try to bring to you guys in content that we can make here. So appreciate everybody for being here. Drop those Sims emojis in the chat.
Our goat.
I saw Deborah said we need a territorial cup emoji. And
that would go hard.
No, Max said that, or it was Pigeon said, this is our territorial cup emoji. And he's damn right. The Sims emoji is going worldwide. Appreciate everybody for being in this chat. It was a great show today, Sam. You guys mean the world to us. Take advantage of that Die Hard sale. Best sale you'll get all year long. $26. Next 2 days. You have until tomorrow to find that money. And I know you could just go out there, maybe like knock on someone's door and tell them, I'll mow your lawn for $26, because it means everything. I got to find this money.
Get a permit for a lemonade stand.
Absolutely. Shout out the people here in this chat. Shout out my guy, Kevo Posts, where you can follow him on Twitter for another great show. Follow me at Damon Dog at CAWG, and follow us at PHNX_Wildcats on all socials, except for TikTok. We're at AZ Wildcats Pod. If you guys haven't seen our Instagram reel of Traden Stukes' Moss interception, we got an exclusive angle to maybe the greatest interception in U of A program history. It's up there. Probably Chuck Cecil's takes the cake, but it could be number 2. Probably the number 2 interception in program history. And
it makes it so much sweeter that a Sun Devil had to film it.
Yeah. Shane Diefenbach got us some of the best film you'll ever see. Go check out that Instagram on PHNX_Wildcats. It has over 350,000 views. It's such a great little video there. So check that out. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you on a Tuesday edition at 2 p.m. here in HQ3 for the AZ Wildcats pod. Anything else before we get out of here, Kevin?
No, thank you to everybody that did tap in with today's pod, either live or after. Big love, so much love to all you folks, Wildcat fans and sports and fans alike. Thank you for tapping in, and I hope everyone's having a good December 1st. Cannot believe it's December 1st, but let's get to December 2nd.
Let's absolutely do it, and also special shout out to our presenting sponsors again today, Branded Bills and Captain Morgan. We could not do this thing without those 2 presenting sponsors here. Of course, Branded Bills I rep all the time, and Captain Morgan, you guys don't know this, I'm drinking it constantly. You guys just can't tell because I'm really good at acting sober every day on this podcast. But I wake up in the morning, pour some Captain Morgan, show up, do the podcast, go back home, drink some more Captain Morgan. That's my plan on the day. Wear a Branded Bills hat while I do so. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you tomorrow on a Tuesday at 2 p.m. Until then, peace out. Bear down.
And go Cats. Do you remember 2025, November?
We all silly like the mayor.